Thank you for joining us today for the Protelo NetSuite webinar on how NetSuite can help product-based companies to streamline their operations and boost their growth. We're very excited to have everybody here. Before we dive in, I just want to let you know you'll see a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen or the Zoom window. So feel free to ask any questions throughout the webinar using that functionality. And then we will address any questions in a Q&A session at the end as well. All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. I do want to give you a little more information about myself and Protelo before we get started. So I'm Taylor. I'm a senior account manager with Protelo. I've been here about 5 years. And Protelo, we are a top tier solution provider. So what that means is we sell the NetSuite licensing, we implement NetSuite, and we also provide post-go live support into perpetuity of our customers having NetSuite. So we're your one-stop shop there. We've been selling NetSuite since 2011, so we're going on almost 15 years as a NetSuite solution provider, and we specialize in wholesale distribution and light manufacturing. Our consultants, they have average of 15 plus years of ERP experience, and we are also located in every US time zone and have a presence in Europe. Protelo, we have over 400 satisfied NetSuite customers, and you can see here that we won a few awards, including the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies, and we are also certified in ERP by Oracle NetSuite, and only one of a very few companies that have achieved that designation from Oracle. And from here, I'd like to introduce you to the people who will be presenting the presentation for you today. We have Jeffrey O'Neill. He's our senior solutions consultant and has over a dozen years of NetSuite ERP experience and is local to Boise, Idaho. And then we also have CJ Lemerise, who's a solutions consultant at Protelo, local to Folsom, California, and has about 9 years of ERP experience. So we're very excited to have you all here today. And with that, I'll pass it to Jeff to begin the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to delve into a topic that sits really at the heart of our businesses. It's fundamental to efficiency, fundamental to profitability, and of course, I'm talking about inventory management. Specifically today, we're going to explore the advanced inventory functions available in NetSuite and why they're essential for our drive to stay competitive. We all know how inventory mismanagement can lead to financial losses, inefficiencies, and unhappy customers. And I'm sure we all know from our own experience that manual systems and outdated software can't keep up with the complexities of modern supply chains. You need real-time data, accuracy, and agility in order to thrive today. So our goal today is to provide you with a clear understanding of how advanced inventory functions in NetSuite can optimize your operations, improve visibility, and most importantly, drive profitability. With that in mind, let's get going. So why is inventory so important? Well, good inventory management practices help our businesses in many ways. Cost control is, of course, crucial. Storing inventory incurs costs such as warehousing, insurance, and it increases the risk of obsolescence. Controlling inventory level minimizes these expenses. And of course, keeping customer happy and coming back, that's important to all of us as well. Keeping control of our costs, keep our customers happy because we have the right balance of inventory levels and we're avoiding stockouts. So for example, not having our most profitable and most sold products available when our customers want it, that leads to lost sales. And overstocks result in me having to mark down merchandise. I don't like forced markdowns. I don't like waste. And it's important to note that 43% of small businesses experience stockouts because of inefficient processes. And again, that means lost sales and maybe lost customers to another brand. And now more than ever, of course, cash flow is key. Inventory ties up our capital. Excess inventory means cash is locked in unsold goods, which we might otherwise use for other operations or investments. And no one wants to see our inventory walk out the front door without a sale. So monitoring inventory closely will help prevent losses from theft, damage, or errors, and that hits our bottom line. And everybody's favorite topic, efficiency. It's critical in today's environment. We need all our platforms communicating. whether on our website, direct from our sales team, or even in a brick and mortar store. We need all these systems pulling inventory from a single source of truth in real time. NetSuite offers us this key central platform, a single source of truth. And by controlling our inventory costs, we reduce overall operational expenses, we improve our profit margins, and increase our competitive position in the marketplace. With accurate inventory data, you can make informed purchasing, pricing, and forecasting decisions, thereby reducing the risk of unnecessary costs. Effective inventory management isn't just about keeping costs down, though. It's about building a lean, nimble operation that can adapt to changing market demands. The bottom line, simple. Stay competitive, stay profitable. Now, let's get into what inventory actually looks like in NetSuite. So the Item Master in NetSuite, it's the central hub for managing all the information related to inventory items. And that's an important factor for product and services businesses. In a few minutes, CJ, my colleague, is going to show you a detailed look at the record, but let's look at a higher level to see what's possible. When new items are created, details such as item types, and we're going to talk more about them in a moment, including service items, download items like software or ebooks, even charged services like gift wrapping or customizations. Details like lot or serial numbers, pricing tiers, classifications like lines of products, location, etc. And of course, costing methods like FIFO, LIFO, average, standard cost methodology, as well as landed costs to include tariffs and fees are all entered into that item master. And we know how important those factors have become to all of us. In addition to all of this, supplier and vendor details are connected to our items to help us project lead times intelligently based on actual history, track vendor pricing trends so we can see changes in our costs over time. And all of this is linked to a streamlined procurement process. So I know what's been ordered, where it is, on a ship in a container, being transported with a carrier, allowing us to provide meaningful updates to our customers. And we just spoke about keeping an eye on our stock. Traditional cycle counting is helpful, but is often a significant task for us to manage that, and it impacts our ability to complete sales. The good news is that NetSuite now offers a modern tool called Smart Count, which allows us to schedule routine counts as part of the workday. No special time set aside, no need to stop the flow of goods to our customers to verify stock levels. We just do checks as we pick and put away items. It's easy. And that exemplifies a theme in NetSuite. Easy, real-time, flexible tools to give you insights and control across your business. The Item Master is truly the backbone of our inventory management, integrating with various NetSuite modules to provide a seamless flow of information and, most importantly, a single source of truth. So let's take a deeper look at some of the key item types, and then I'm going to let CJ drive a bit deeper into the details. First off, let's talk about assembly items. We can see what an assembly item looks like here, and they're used primarily by manufacturers. They're created by combining multiple components into one finished product. They can include individual components or other assembly items that we'll call sub-assemblies. They are built using a bill of materials or BOM, and NetSuite can factor in availability of the components as well as the time to manufacture to provide precise timelines for promising items to our customers. NetSuite considers all the components, labor, physical resources like equipment that are required to project supply so we have excellent visibility into our capability. And again, CJ is going to show you what it all looks like in the system shortly. Let's take a look at another set of items called item kits and item groups, pardon me. They're different things. So let's look first at item kits. So item kits and item groups are both very useful. They both allow us to track and sell collections of items, but they have different functions. Kits can be thought of as bundles. A great example is a gift basket of maybe cheese and crackers. We've all bought them or received them at holidays. It lets you define the parts of this kit in advance, and they remain fixed unless you edit or make changes to the kit itself. Typically, you can't add extra quantities or items inside a bundled gift basket without creating an entirely new kit. And that's different from item groups. Item groups are a set of items which are generally tracked separately but sold together. Each is its own distinct item. A great example would be a plumbing supply company. Typically, some hoses, fittings, and washers are grouped together for the convenience of the customer. This makes my sink repair kit easy to order with one click. But typically, the items in that kit will appear as individual item quantities and prices on the invoices. Groups are meant to be dynamic, so I can add more washers, for example, to my plumbing kit if I need that. Kits, on the other hand, are static. All right, so let's talk about matrix items. Matrix items are typically leveraged by distributors or retailers, but they can be helpful in other businesses as well. The old adage in retail is to sell one shirt, you have to stock 6. Why? Because items like a shirt have variations, like size, color, or style. Usually, we don't want to track each variation of size as a unique SKU because it makes my reporting and understanding my business more difficult. So we organize them under a single parent item. Matrix items make NetSuite highly versatile, allowing businesses to streamline reporting and operations. There's another feature called merchandise hierarchy that has a similar benefit but works differently, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Now, you might have some ideas on how to simplify or streamline your reporting by leveraging some of these item types we've talked about, and we'd love to talk to you more about it. So feel free to reach out to us after this event, and we're there for you. So with all the item types configured in our system, we probably need to talk about how we price items in NetSuite. The NetSuite pricing engine is actually quite diverse and flexible, and you can see an example here. Determining the price for an order is based on several factors and configurations set up in the system. This is an overview of how it works. You can see NetSuite supports multiple pricing levels, such as base price, quantity-based discounts, customer-specific pricing. The system selects the appropriate level based on the customer and the order details. So for customers with negotiated contracts, NetSuite uses the agreed-upon pricing terms for their orders. You can also track price books or custom pricing rules for different regions, currencies, or customer segments. NetSuite uses the relevant price book based on the order's context. Rules can be configured based on attributes like item category, customer type, order value. And we can see in this diagram that if promotions or discounts are active, NetSuite will automatically apply them as well when there are items in the order that are eligible for it. And then NetSuite adjusts the pricing, of course, based on quantities ordered, applying tiered discounts where that's appropriate. And of course, prices can change. So NetSuite can dynamically adjust pricing based on factors like inventory levels, demand, market conditions. These features ensure that NetSuite provides accurate and optimized pricing for every order. Let's talk about some of the analytics that live in NetSuite. And this is that item hierarchy. I mentioned this earlier when we were talking about matrix items. It can be very helpful. The inventory hierarchy in NetSuite is used for organizing and managing your stock, making it easier to oversee operations and gain actionable insights. Merchandise history allows you to categorize items into groups, such as departments, product families, classes. And by grouping items into a hierarchy, you generate detailed reports and analytics. For example, you can analyze sales trends, profitability, and inventory performance by a category like winter clothing. And this helps you make, again, data-driven decisions. The hierarchy also provides a clear view of product performance, enabling you to identify underperforming categories or high-demand ones. This insight supports better pricing, promotions, and inventory allocation strategies. Of course, as you would assume, merchandise hierarchies are frequently used to reflect seasonal changes or new product launches. The flexibility ensures your inventory structure aligns with current needs and current customer demands. The hierarchy also integrates seamlessly with NetSuite's analytic workbooks, save searches, reports, and all this provides a unified framework for analyzing inventory and sales data. If you haven't begun leveraging the Suite Analytics tool in NetSuite, you're in for a happy surprise. Again, give us a call. We'll talk more about it. There are some really powerful options here. By using merchandise hierarchy, you can transform your inventory management into more organized, insightful, and adaptable processes. So thinking about that analysis, let's dive a little bit deeper. Reporting. NetSuite offers a wide range of reporting tools for inventory management, and they provide real-time insights to help optimize your operations. We can see some examples on the screen here today of some reports that are available. Things like inventory evaluation, providing an overview of inventory value based on your costing methods. A snapshot of our current inventory displaying real-time stock levels across multiple locations. Inventory turnover, analyzing how frequently inventory is sold and replaced, and helping to identify slow-moving items. Inventory profitability, evaluating the profitability of individual inventory items by comparing the costs and our revenue. Letting me determine what is my best-selling item and what is my most profitable item. These are good things to know and to track over time. I can see backorder reports identifying items that are out of stock but maybe have pending orders, and many other supply and demand planning reports. Aligning our inventory levels with forecasted demand. That's important. These reports and many, many more are accessible through NetSuite's dashboards and can be customized to suit your specific need. Importantly, they provide actionable insights to improve inventory control, reduce costs, and enhance your overall efficiency. And as I said before, if you want to take a deeper dive, we'd be happy to chat. Just drop us a note. So we've covered a lot of stuff. We've explored the challenges of traditional inventory methods, some of the unique features of NetSuite's inventory, and the competitive advantage they bring to your business. Clearly, advanced inventory management is not a luxury. It's a necessity for businesses like yours looking to thrive in a fast-paced, competitive, and changing marketplace. Now, we'd love to hear your thoughts and questions on this. Feel free to share them in the Q&A section, as Taylor mentioned earlier. We'll take some time at the end to answer the questions that we can. And now, enough of me talking finally. It's time to get hands-on. So CJ, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we can get started. In NetSuite, I am logged into the purchasing manager role. Now, NetSuite is a role-based system, which means that a user who is using the system might have one role or multiple roles that have different views and permissions that allow them to interact with different aspects of the system. Here in this purchasing manager role, you're seeing what is called the dashboard. And a dashboard is specific to a role that is created to highlight the key data, really, that a user is going to see on a daily basis. Now, this isn't something that I put together for the sake of this demonstration. This is out-of-the-box NetSuite functionality. So you can see that for the specific role where a purchasing manager's day-to-day might involve, item supply planning, might involve ordering items, maintaining watch over inventory, approving purchase orders. NetSuite allows it, through their dashboard, it allows you to have visibility into all of these different data points and action items that are going to govern your day-to-day. You can see in the reminders portlet, there are purchase orders to approve, RFQ responses to take care of, and so forth. You have tiles that allow you to quickly move between the different transactions that you would need to create in order to create purchase orders to replenish inventory. You have key performance indicators, some of which are comparative from one period to another, looking at inventory valuation. Others are snapshots of current statistics, such as active purchase contracts. You have warehouse operations indicators. All of this is available regardless of roles. If you switch into something like a controller role, you'll have a dashboard specific to that. So really powerful out-of-the-box functionality that NetSuite offers you. But we're here to talk about inventory management. And so what I'd like to do is jump over to an item record and take a look at what drives some of this inventory management within the system, so you can get a better picture of how NetSuite works when it comes to handling your inventory. So here we have a lot numbered inventory item. And as Jeff mentioned, there are quite a few different item types within NetSuite. So we'll just go ahead and stick to this one specific item type. And you can see on an item record that there's the primary information section, and this section contains high-level information about the item, such as the item name and number, the units that are associated with the item, be it units for sales as well as consumption and purchasing, an item image perhaps if you had one, and down in the classification section, we have some of that segmentation that feeds into the reporting that Jeff talked about. So things like item hierarchy can be classified here using the item class, and you're able to define a hierarchy of classes that can then be reported on. And this is, again, out-of-the-box NetSuite functionality that's available from day one as you manage your inventory. Down in the purchasing and inventory subtab is really where we get into how the system is going to handle these items. So looking at the item and cost detail section, we have a few things to take a look at here. First being track landed cost. So you can make an item eligible to have the landed cost of it tracked and added to that item's asset value, inventory asset value, excuse me. And I want to call attention to this because I am going to come back to this later. The costing methods that Jeff mentioned, so first in, first out, last in, first out, average, standard costing, all of that can be dictated through the costing method. So whatever your costing methodology, you're able to assign that to an item and it will behave appropriately. Looking at the inventory management, you're able to assign this item to bins. So if you have multiple warehouses with specific bins for this item, you can assign that item to those bins so you know exactly where it's going to be at all of your locations. The available to promise method. So you can utilize the system to either look at a current snapshot of non-posting transactions such as sales orders, purchase orders, work orders, transfer orders, anything with that item on it. The system's going to look at it and it's going to determine the soonest date that this item can be available to be fulfilled. You can also utilize a look ahead method. So you can pick a future horizon, which is user defined, and it will look ahead at additional work orders, purchase orders, transfer orders, and so forth to make that determination. The replenishment method. So you can set a reorder point on this item or on your items, and based on that reorder point, you're able to either set a static reorder point, say maybe you want to keep 30 of this particular item in stock at all times. You can do it that way. Or you can have the system auto-calculate your preferred stock level. And what will happen is you can set a number of days that you would like to have this item available, and the system's going to calculate what's called the daily demand. It's going to look at all of your sales orders from a specific window of time in the past. The default, I believe, is 6 months, but you can change that default. And it will look at all sales orders and determine a daily demand, or the number of days that that this item will be available before it's consumed based on the current stock level. Once this threshold is reached, the system will generate a reminder to place an order to maintain that preferred stock level. If you prefer to reorder multiples, so for instance, maybe you prefer to order this item in groups of 100, you can set that multiple on the item record, and then when those suggestions are created those reminders are created to reorder the item, the system's going to make those suggestions of the quantity in those multiples, thereby saving you the time and the effort of having to sort that out yourself. A reorder point can be automatically calculated. So based on the safety stock level, again, we have chosen to represent this in days. The system will take a look at the daily demand. It will when it determines that the current stock level can only maintain a 3-day supply, it's going to let you know that you are now at your safety stock level and you need to reorder. You can also calculate the lead time on this, how the system will automatically do this for you. Much like the way it automatically calculates the daily demand, it will look at the purchase orders that have been created in NetSuite, and it will calculate the lead time on a purchase based on those purchase orders and how long that item took to come in. So really something that, if this knowledge lies perhaps in an individual or a small team of people, now it's in the system. It's something that is automatically being calculated and really is taking the burden off of your team and enabling you to really have more control over the way your inventory is managed. The seasonal demand. So you're able to assign seasonal demand to this particular item, and what the system will do is take that into consideration as it calculates daily demand based on the time of the year it is. And you can also specify an expected demand change. So for instance, if you knew that your sales of this item were going to go, or excuse me, the demand of this item was going to go up, say 10% as you were adding more customers, you could add that 10%, and what the system will do is take a look at all those previous sales orders and increase it by a factor of 10% in order to calculate that daily demand. So something that you would have to perform some complex calculations in order to achieve, this can be done just by entering in a few numbers in a field and saving the record. So very powerful tool. Manufacturing. As we are ordering supplies from manufacturers, you're able to capture the information about who's manufacturing this product. You can capture the name of the manufacturer, the country it's coming from, the address of the manufacturer, the tax ID. I know important on people's minds to some extent, the manufacturer tariffs, if there are any. So you're able to capture the HS and HTS codes, tariff codes that might be associated with this item, and it's going to live with that item record. And this will be unique for each individual item. Vendor bill matching. So this is important for addressing any potential shrinkage. You're able to create tolerances and difference criteria that's going to allow you to flag things like vendor bills, item receipts, purchase orders, anything where you're receiving inventory in. And if there's a difference, say, between the purchase order amount and the item receipt amount, and it goes over that difference level that you specify, that order is going to get flagged for review. So again, giving you better visibility. The recurring theme of this webinar is visibility and control over your inventory, and this is another tool that you can leverage to do that. Looking at the locations. So at a glance, you're able to see all of the locations that you have. So in this case, like all of your different warehouses, you can see the quantity on hand. You can see the dollar value of that quantity. You can see how many might be allocated for orders, how many might be committed, what the available quantity is, the number of the number of items that are on order. So again, this is all in one unified view. You're not having to look between different systems to see what's on order. You don't have to switch between different views to look at different warehouses. Everything is available here from one unified view. You can specify vendors. So if you have a specific vendor that you order from, you can associate them with that item. You can make it a preferred vendor and set a specific purchase price. And then when you generate your purchase order transactions, that vendor is going to automatically populate in and be the vendor of choice for that item. Looking at Jeff mentioned this earlier, the pricing, the way pricing works in NetSuite. Here is the sub-tab that governs that. So if we take a look down at the bottom here, you can see the different price levels. And so the way it's organized is each row represents a different price level with an associated default discount amount. And what you can do is you can specify a price, a list price, or base price. And the system will automatically calculate the discounts based on the percentage that you populate here in the default discount percentages. Now you can create up to 1,000 of these price levels in the system. So really a lot of flexibility as far as how many price levels you want to have. Also, you have the ability to create quantity pricing discounts. So if you wanted to offer a discount for 10 or more of purchase of 10 or more of this item, you can do so. And when you enter that base price for the discount, the system's going to do the same thing where it will automatically calculate out these other price levels based on that percentage that's assigned to it. If we take a look at the inventory detail subtab, we're able to see the bin numbers that these specific items are located in. So going back to what I mentioned earlier about assigning items to bins and then knowing where they're at, this is another view. Like we're looking at our Denver location and we can see that there are 50 of this item in one bin and 50 in another. We can see that the status on these is marked as good. We can see the lot numbers associated with these. We can see the expiration dates associated with these if you had those. So again, visibility into your inventory is more important than ever, and these are the tools that are going to enable you to do so. Moving over to, I talked about landed cost earlier, and so now I want to go ahead and revisit that. Let's go over to an item receipt. And so an item receipt is, this is created off of a purchase order that was sent to a vendor. And what we're taking a look at here is the landed cost subtab on this item receipt. And here's where the landed cost of this particular of these items is going to be captured. So you can see here that there's that the landed cost allocation method here is selected as quantity. The freight cost is captured, the duties and fees cost is captured, the import fee cost is captured. So all of this is captured. And then if we take a look at the GL impact here, as this is, well, it does not, it wants to log me out for some reason. It is a posting transaction, and if for whatever reason that's happening, but normally what would occur is you'd be able to see the GL impact and those costs being captured and then added to the inventory asset value. And so that inventory asset value is going to be calculated against your income, which is going to give you really a true picture of what your profitability is on these items. Jeff had mentioned Smart Count earlier. So Smart Count, this allows users to perform spot checks, inventory counts based on either a scheduled interval. This is done through setup of a user-defined scheduled interval, or this can be done as a spot count and be done as needed. And what will happen is users will, using the mobile app, or they have the ability to use the mobile app, they will submit these inventory counts and it will come to a smart count review. So whoever's in charge of approving these will get a list of all of those counts that may be performed in a specific location. And you can see here that we don't have any unapproved counts currently, but if we did, you would see a number of unapproved counts, any that might be over a variance tolerance. So if a user performed an inventory count and there were expected to be 50 on the shelf and they entered that there were 45, the system will, and that's over a tolerance, the system will let you know at a glance that this is over that variance tolerance. Anything that is an unapproved count that now has an on-hand change. So if there's been a change since that count, the system's going to let you know about that. If there are any unapproved counts that are within the tolerance, the system will let you know about that as well. So, I hate to sound like a broken record here, but again, visibility and having that data to be able to really know what's going on with your inventory and be able to manage that, this is yet another tool that enables you to do that. So from here, if there were any of these those counts that that were pending approval, you from this view could either approve them, reject them, or you can send them back to the user to perform a recount. So all of this is available, at the click of a button. This isn't something you have to go navigating and searching through different records to find. It's all, again, in a unified view that really is putting ease of use first and foremost. Looking at the Smart Count dashboard. So similarly to the dashboard I showed at the beginning of my portion of this webinar, we have a dashboard that's dedicated to Smart Count. So you can see that there are reminders, just like in the other dashboard, there are reminders showing you that there might be item counts that need approval. There are items that are due for approval or for count today. There are items that have been due in the last 30 days. You can see if there's any variance. You can see all of your locations where counts are being performed. If there's any variance, you're able to see it. So at our Denver location, we can see this month that there is a variance. You can view count variance analysis. You can view it by user. So if there are users that are entering their counts, you can actually see individual users and how much variance they have on a user by user basis. So giving you visibility into not only your counts, but who's doing the counting and how much are they on the money or off the money on. You're also able to just see a high level overview of everything pertaining to Smart Count. How many counts have been performed, approved, rejected, sent for a recount, due, some that are overdue, if there are any scheduled. So again, visibility, just another aspect of this visibility that I keep returning to. Jeff talked about reporting. And so he made mention of the stock ledger, and I thought this would be a good report to take a little bit deeper of a dive into. I did not build this for the purposes of this webinar. This is out of the box NetSuite functionality. You'll be able to view your reports, and just to give you an idea, these are just some of the reports that you're able to view that pertain to your inventory. And these are all out of the box NetSuite reports. Looking at our stock ledger, this is a report that is going to enable you to view really all of your stock at a glance. You can, at the bottom, filter by a specific date range. So when you want to see how your inventory is moving, in this case, we're looking from the beginning of March until the end of March. You can filter by the class of the item. So if you want to, those item classes that I mentioned earlier, if you only want to see a specific class to really be able to see what's moving in that class, what's not moving, you can do that. You're able to filter based on your location. So if you only want to see a particular location that you have and find out what's going on with your stock, as Jeff mentioned, find out what is sitting on the shelves, what's flying off the shelves. This is the way you're going to be able to do that. And so you can see here some key columns to kind of note. You have your beginning on hand, or the quantity that you have on hand at the beginning of this period, right? You have the average cost of those items at the beginning of that period, the value of those items, and then you have your input transactions, or those, in other words, those receiving transactions, and then you have your output transactions. So you can see that like on this particular item, this industrial belt, there was one sales order with that item on it, and you're able to view the value of that output when that sales order took place, and then you're able to see your ending on-hand quantity. You're able to see, and again, like the cost and the on-hand value. So really, a very powerful tool as far as being able to get a glance into really what's going on. You're able, if you're an organization that has multiple subsidiaries, you can filter based on your specific subsidiary. So a lot of ways, one of the very powerful things about NetSuite is, aside from the fact that, as Jeff said, it's a single source of truth, a unified system, it also allows you to be able to view this information through a variety of contexts, or to slice and dice it, so to speak. I'll take a look at one more report here, the inventory valuation summary. So you can see what is and isn't moving on your shelves. Now here's where you're able to see what is that worth, what are these items worth to you, what is the value of these items. You're able to see a specific item. You can see the inventory value expressed in dollar figures, and you're also able to see it in terms of your overall inventory value. So again, this is this isn't this is not something that has to be a mystery. This is clear data that you're able to make intelligent decisions around your inventory based on these reports that are available to you. And with that, I hope that was a quick look into how inventory is managed in NetSuite. If any of this is of interest to you and you want to take a deeper dive, please reach out to us, and I will go ahead and open it up for Q&A.
Looks like one of the questions we have here is, does Smart Count require the use of handheld devices?
Oh, I'll run with that one. Popular feature, Smart Count. Good question, too. No, it does not require handheld devices, but the devices enhance its functionality. So with handheld devices, you can leverage barcodes in the warehouse and provide on-the-fly updates to the counter on your different inventory levels. Good question. Thanks for that.
Yes. And feel free to keep the questions flowing in. I see another one here. What cost allocation methods are available for landed costs, and how are they determined?
Yeah, we'll take this. So there's a few cost allocation methods. I showed one of them, which I believe was quantity. But there's also weight and value. And the way they're determined, this is a little bit of math here, but one way the weight is determined is the weight of the item is divided by the total weight of eligible items, so that being any item that has landed cost being tracked on it, and then it's multiplied by the total landed cost. I should note that if this item doesn't have any weight entered on it, the NetSuite will display an error. So that's something that has to be set up if when determining by weight. Quantity is determined by the total landed cost divided by the number of eligible items. So again, the items that are tracking landed cost, and then that amount is multiplied by the line item quantity. And finally, the value is the value of each item divided by the total value of those items that you're tracking landed cost on, and then that's multiplied by the total landed cost. So a few ways to slice it.
Thanks, CJ, and I hope that helped answer all of your questions so far. We are running at the end of the webinar now, so I just want to kind of wrap it up and just thank you all for being here and for your questions and for participating. If anyone from your team was unable to attend, we will be sharing the recording with you after this so they can see it. And this was a very high-level overview of NetSuite. So feel free to scan that QR code you see on your screen if you have additional questions. We would love to, schedule a call with you to dig into more specific processes that you might want to chat about. So we'll be in touch to see if we can help with that. Otherwise, just thank you all again for attending. We appreciate your time and hope to be in touch soon. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.